Hello viewers, I'm Dr. Vindoo. As we know, skin is the largest organ of a human being. So mainly the skin functions or it's a barrier between the external environment and the internal environment. It protects us from various hazardous things like bacteria, virus and a lot of chemicals. But seeing a white spot on your skin can worry you psychologically as well as physically. As we know in those days, leprosy, which we call it as Kushtarog also. Mainly in those days, the leprosy was diagnosed by seeing a white patch on your body. Not that every white patch is leprosy. White patch along with loss of sensation in that area could be one of the symptoms. But of course, these days all the diseases are majorly treatable and maintained. But the white spots which were there on those days and people with leprosy were untouchable and they were not allowed to move along with everyone. The same practice has been continued today. The white spot might not affect you functionally, but this white spot will mainly affect mentally because these are visible to people. People might stare at you looking at those white spots and all those expressions which can demotivate you and bring down your confidence. We need to understand these days as the treatment is evolving, along with that diseases are also evolving. There are so many reasons due to which a person can develop white spots, which can start from basic vitamin D deficiency. We have seen in our practice, I have mainly seen many children developing white spots because of the vitamin D deficiency. Just by supplementing these vitamin D deficiency, the white spots definitely get vanished away. Why is this? Mainly it's because we don't get exposed to sunlight. We try to avoid sunlight as much as possible. The schools these days are also lacking the playground where the prayers are done. They are being shadowed even at home, even at school. So there is a complete exposure to sunlight is nil. So even the playing areas are also being shadowed. So this vitamin D deficiency not only helps for the hypopigmented patch, but also it helps in various development issue and immunity issues. In children, you would have also suddenly noticed a white patch on the cheek. Again, not that every white patch is vitiligo or leprosy. So this white patch could also be because of the worm. As we know, these are worms infestations which are seen in children. As children play in sand, mud, and they are prone to contracting this from one another, so they have this worm infestation. If you see your children not eating properly, if you see your kid being fussy eater and they have itchiness in their bum, or they are suddenly they pass urination while they are sleeping in the night, or they are cranky and irritable, you see them boring their nostrils with the fingers. These are all the irritations which we see in children who suffer with worm. So worm infestation can reduce the nutritional absorption, because most of the nutrition, whatever they eat, is mainly absorbed by the worms. And first of all, the kids have been having a junk eating habits. They eat a lot of sugary foods. Along with that, binge eating, a lot of junk foods. All this contributes towards their depletion in the gut health, along with that depletion in the nutritional deficiency, which retards the physical, along with that mental growth as well. So this again comes to the patch. So the worms infestation can cause white patch on the skin, which again by deworming or cleansing their gut and changing dietary habits and taking sufficient water intake will certainly reduce the patch on the cheeks. And mainly the most commonest white patch, which is vitiligo. Vitiligo is an autoimmune disease. As we know, there are different layers of the skin. In a similar manner, what happens is color producing cells, which we call it as melanocytes. We are not born with a single color. This is a continuous process of regeneration and degeneration of the color. If it is balanced, we don't have any kind of patches, whether it is hyperpigmented or hypopigmented. But when there is an autoimmune trigger, so what happens is your immunity certainly attacks the color producing cells, that is melanocytes, due to which you start losing the color in that area and it causes white patches. Why does this happen? It can be because of family history or a stress or a mutated gene which would have triggered within you without having a family history. So, not getting exposed to sunlight also can trigger. So, there are various other reasons. And again, we have seen in most of the vitiligo cases, we have also seen thyroid is the underlying reason. When uncontrolled thyroid or thyroid has been not looked into, we have certainly seen an autoimmune reaction in your body which causes the color cells depletion. No need to worry, whatever is the white patches, whether it is vitiligo or it is the nutritional deficiency or it is because of the worms, or again the most commonest clinging reason is fungal infections. These days we see people suffering with fungal infections because they, what happens is their sweat or hygiene is being compromised, or their sweating is too much, the exposure to sunlight, the kind of seasonal variation that's been happening, or they could have contracted. Nowadays the travel is too much. We stay not only in our house, but we stay in different hotels where in which the hygiene is compromised, and you tend to take the spores from the hotel, and usually fungal is a contagious disease. Very easily a person can transfer the fungal infection from one person to other, from the towels which is being shared to any kind of closets. So anything that you touch, you have the tendency to take away the spores. Not that every person who comes in contact with the spores suffer with fungal infection. So fungal infection usually is developed based on your immunity. If your immunity is good enough, it can certainly kill away the spores and your fungal in your skin is not developed. But similarly, we have seen this fungal infection with the females, especially during the menstrual timing. The hormonal changes cause environment which is favorable for the spores to grow. So in females especially, they develop the fungal infections around the vagina, the vulva region, the groin region. Similarly, with the males, they can develop these kinds of fungal infections in the groins and their underarms. So it is kind of an exchange of the spores. What is individual to you is your immunity. So make sure you maintain that immunity. How can a person maintain their immunity? Make sure your mental health is good, you're eating properly, you're sleeping properly, your physical activities are maintained good, and any symptom in your body you're not neglecting. So make sure prevention is always better than cure, rather than the disease progressing. No disease will stop for you. The disease will have its own course and it will finish it off. But you need to make sure when to take a call, when to take an action. Action to any problem is more important. In a similar manner, the hypopigmented patch, whatever is the reason, that the detailed case study is being taken care. And every individual have a different reason for the hypopigmented patch. That reason has to be addressed. And once we treat the root cause of your problem, whether it is autoimmune, infection, or any kind of fungal growths, or for the matter nutritional deficiency, we can definitely treat with homeopathy. Certainly some medicines which help you, like ars sulflavum, arsenicum album, and thyroidinum. There are some medicines which will help you to treat your diseases, but make sure you're not self-prescribing yourself. Mainly a homeopath is the correct person